Evening, Alex. How are you?
I'm very good, Mr. Buzz. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Not too bad. So, on this week's episode, we have a film called The Holdovers, which is a film directed by Alexander Payne, and it stars Paul Giamatti, who is quite. I'm quite fond of him. Everything that Paul Giamatti's in is a good film or TV series.
Indeed.
Anyway, this film takes place in 1970 to 1971, and Paul Giamatti plays this kind of cranky teacher who's requested to stay in a private school over the course of the Christmas period with the other students who, for whatever reason, they all have their own reasons, can't go back to their families.
Yeah.
And it's quite a good emotional roller coaster for several of the characters in the film over the course of about 2 weeks in the Christmas period. But we'll roll a quick clip now to give you an idea what it's about, and then good. There we go
There we
then.
go.
So yeah, it's kind of a film that is based on, I'd say, very privileged children at quite a high class school in America, and Paul just plays this very funny, dry sense of humour, bitter teacher who kind of resides in the halls of the school all year round anyway. And he makes this good relationship kind of between the student and the teacher with one of the students called Angus Tully, who's played by Dominic Sesse, I think is
Sessa.
pronounced his
Yeah, yeah,
name.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
so there's quite a good bond there, but it starts off very like Paul just getting very angry with the wit and the boisterous nature of Angus, who's a little bit of an outcast really. And then there's a cook in school called Mary Lamb, and she's actually lost a son of Angus's age in the war. So there's a bit of backstory with them three. It starts off with a lot of the students staying over the Christmas period, like seven or eight of them, and it's this kind of Three Musketeers sort of vibe. They all kind of have to coexist with each other, and Angus being 17 years old is kind of very angry that he's in prison almost. He refers to it as prison and being caught up in that situation with the other two. But I thought it was really funny. I think it's marked down as a comedy. Some of the lines that Paul gets in the film is absolutely brilliant. And it's great to kind of watch this bond between the three of them, just kind of evolve throughout the film. But what did you make of it, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, fans of Alexander Payne will know what to expect. This is right up his alley, and he's actually, I mean, some of his past films are Sideways, which is again directed by Alexander Payne, but with Paul Giamatti too, and The Descendants, which I liked a lot with George Clooney, and they all the time have these very relatable characters, even though they're a bit weird and quirky, but also always has a subtext about, these relatable characters have issues like everybody else. In this case, in this the Holdovers, you have the the history teacher, which is Paul Giamatti, but he's overqualified for where he is, and on
Mm.
top of that, he has to deal with these super rich kids, entitled kids that have no, passion or no interest for education, but because their parents are so wealthy and supporting the school, the teachers have to sort of be a bit more gentle. And literally, he hates that. He's like against his DNA, and it's so funny the way
Yeah.
he's written. So, besides the acting, which is top notch, so Paul Giamatti is nominated for Oscars this year for this role. But the other actors are also doing an excellent job. Besides that, the dialogue is just fantastic to listen to, specifically when he goes on rants about how the rich parents are, diluting and destroying the culture and education in the state and all of that stuff. And it
Yeah.
always touches on that. But the
Yeah.
heart of the film is this dynamic between these such different types of characters coming together, including the cook. I found the story of the cook and how she
Mm.
plays the role
Yeah.
was very good. Don't you
Yeah.
think
And we got
the
to Yeah, we've got to
Mary?
mention as well because Mary in the film, she's a black woman, isn't she?
Yeah,
Who obviously, I think the film takes into account a lot the wealth disadvantage or advantage of the characters in the film. And Mary's obviously from a poor background, and being black in the early 1970s has its disadvantages. And the storyline of her son who had to go off to war, in the hope of returning, and have an education, because I think they'll get scholarships in America for fighting in the army and then coming back.
At the time, you had to go to do service in the States, and obviously the other rich kids managed to get away with it because of their parents pulling strings. But this child has gone and did his duty and then died for it. So it's all like the perfect example of unfairness is right there and there.
Yeah.
But the film,
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. Definitely unfairness. Yeah, that's a point that's been hit on. And I think when you watch the three characters, I would like to describe them all as victims in their own way. Obviously, Mary's son has died in a war that he shouldn't have gone to. Angus has been kind of abandoned by his family over Christmas, by his mother, who would rather spend Christmas with her new love interest, which isn't Angus's dad. And then Paul himself, although he's quite a stickler for the rules and he says he likes being alone, there's a lot of that in the film that he claims to be like being alone. He himself seems to have made a bed for himself, which is a bit lonely and maybe a little bit dysfunctional. Do you know what I mean? So that's that. I think that's what makes the chemistry on screen even better. Is they're kind of helping each other, aren't they, by just simply being there for each other over the festive period. It's really good to watch.
Sorry.
I said it's really good to watch. And also you really care about the characters as well, and it's very important for me in films or TV series that over the course of the 2 hour 20 minutes you're invested, aren't you?
Yeah, to care. And also the way the film is crafted. So the story is in the 70s, but the film is also made like it's in the 70s. I don't know if you've probably noticed the introduction. So all the Miramax logos and all of that is like from way back in the day. But also in the cinema, I noticed the ratio of what it is a bit tighter. So you have black bands on the side, which is like an old format.
The camera that they used must have been a certain format, as you say, because it really does have a kind of grainy look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like like a lot of reviewers online said about this film that they don't make movies like this anymore, and I think it's very true. Not because of the way it's filmed, but because of the story, the way the story is told. With these heartfelt, simple story, but with great impact, because it's like these guys are all victims, like you said, put together, and together they look at each other and learn from each other. Nobody's perfect in the film, and they have to learn from each other to grow and develop as people. And that's what is the most impactful thing in the film, which makes it such a great viewing.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And I think it's got quite a satisfactory ending as well. It could have been a little bit cheesy, but what Paul does at the end of the film is quite satisfying to watch. I won't give anything away, but it all kind of culminates this him believing in his rules and regulations and being a reformer. It all culminates at the end to quite a like I say, I'll say satisfying ending. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed, absolutely. Yeah, it's a joy to watch compared to other films that have sad endings or surprising or not surprising, or compared to what we've recently seen, Poor Things. This is definitely the opposite. It's much more grounded, but with a very strong heart too. So yeah, The Holdovers. Yes. We'll put the full written review on the link on our website. And as always, until next week, Baz, I'll leave you in peace.
Yeah, take care, Alex. Bye.
See you, man. Bye.